like Tobey Maguire has become like nerd culture's JFK Jr. We're all just sitting around staring at a computer. He's coming back! He's coming back! I swear it!
Oh, if you don't mind, then I really don't care. There's a symbiote growing in my silly old hair. Oh yeah, look like Tobey Maguire. Only desire to keep my homies inspired. Friendly neighborhood who? Friendly neighborhood who? Yeah.
Put some respect on Seabiscuit. Damn.
Hey everyone, it's Jason here with another episode of Tobey. Here.
Welcome.
Yeah, here with my co-host Reno Christoph. Say hi, Reno.
Hello, Reno.
Yeah, take it literally. And I'm also here with a special guest, Jay Lopez. Say hi, Jay.
Howdy, y'all.
This man is a battle rap legend, Underground Battle League co-owner, CEO.
Co-owner, yeah.
Yeehaw.
Co-owner, a video director, I don't know the official title.
You're a creative.
This is all happening out of a trunk.
You're just, okay, the man behind the magic.
Yeah.
The Acura trunk. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, good to have you. We're here today. It is Tuesday. It is 72 hours out from when we're going to see Far From Home.
Yes.
And we're so desperate for Spider-Man material and
48
content that
hours, bro. 48 hours.
It is.
2 days
Huh?
away. 2 days. 48 hours away. Sorry, we can cut this.
No, it's fine. That's fine. Are we
This would be a really
we
easy
seeing it on
moment to
Thursday?
cut.
It's okay. So
Thursday, yeah.
48
6 p.m.
hours and some change
Shane.
away from seeing Spider-Man, and we are so desperate for content that we sat down to watch the unwanted middle child of Spider-Man history, The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's so
Because we talk about Tobey, the classic nostalgic Sam Raimi films, and then we talk about how Tom Holland has kind of taken it and kind of integrated into the MCU.
Everyone shits on Andrew.
But like in the middle is this kind of, universally, it's not reviled so much as it is just kind of unwanted. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
So we sat down and watched them.
The short end of the stick for sure.
Because I definitely didn't go into them with like objectively the first time I watched them.
He's always the punchline of some Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Like him not getting, yeah.
In terms of unwanted superheroes, it's like Jared Leto's Joker, Topher Grace's Venom, and then there's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in terms of how people viewed comic books until recently. I
gotta say, I like him in the role. I just don't like the, directing and writing around it. So I think he gets shit on for like other people's mistakes, I think.
That's exactly what happens, and we'll get into that. Jay, I already know your experience. We've talked about Spider-Man ad nauseum. Jay, what's your experience with Spider-Man, Peter Parker at all?
I've read quite a bit of the comic books. I grew up on like a Nazi as Spider, so when I saw Spider-Man, I was like, oh, it's a Nazi. Like, and then they made the comic book with a Nazi Spider-Man, and I was just even more in love. But I've seen all of the films. It's like a African Spider-Man comic. It's like just like a limited run thing or whatever.
I'm sorry. Are you saying Nazi?
No, I'm not saying.
What are you saying?
A Nazi.
A Nazi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Yeah, I was like,
that sounds
this
interesting.
is fascinating. Heil Spider-Man. That's what kind of like reboot revisionist multiverse? I guess Spider Hitler has to exist.
It's got to be out there. If someone thinks it's on the internet.
No, this is more interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So Spider-Man has just a dear spot to me. I like those tricksters. I like that energy and whatnot. So, I've seen all the films. I'm not so familiar with the middle child, but I did see it.
Yeah, and I think that's the official review across the board. Is like I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
That's why we watched
it.
It's because no one remembers.
It definitely has 3 acts.
Saw it.
Right? There's a middle. There's also an end. There was also a beginning
also
to
a
it.
sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second
also
one
has a
didn't have
middle.
so much of a beginning or a middle and an end. It just had stuff
It was
happening.
an Avatar character in there, right? It was a blue guy.
Oh yeah.
Right, the weirdest. Okay, we got to start at the beginning. That's Electro. We got to start at the beginning.
They did Jamie Foxx a little.
How did we get
Goofy,
here? I think is
man.
the question. Is we got to start with how did we get here? How did we get to the Amazing Spider-Man? We have to start with Spider-Man 3. You know, the universally, up until recently, when you watch it, it's actually not that bad in retrospect, but it's not. After Spider-Man 2, the 1-2 punch of Spider-Man 1 and 2, it was very disappointing, and it was kind of.
Yeah.
You kind of could see you could smell the change in the air, that corporate mandated kind of things have to be in there. They were kind of, you could feel it being taken away from the artist. Spider-Man 2 is an artist movie about a superhero for sure, whereas Spider-Man 3 is like, this is a corporate mandated movie, stuffing in as much stuff as you possibly can so we can set up for more stuff.
Which never even got to see the light of day anyway.
Which made
killed it.
Sam Raimi disappointed. He never liked the script. No one wanted to come back, and they were just like, "Well, you can get fucked then. We're gonna move on."
Yeah.
Which was revealed a lot in the Sony hack. There was a lot of stuff that was revealed about that. They were just like, "We can't stand." They were basically annoyed that Sam Raimi was asking them to do better because he kept getting a script, and he was like, "No, this is bad. I won't make your bad movie." And so they're like, "We will go off and make our own bad movie then." And so they did.
We don't need you for this.
Yeah, exactly.
We know how to sink our own shit.
Yeah.
And so they decided to reboot it within it feels like within 2 years, but it was like 2008. When did Spider-Man 3 come out?
2007.
2007. Mm-hmm. So it was about 4 years. In the time that it would have taken for us to get a sequel to the movie we wanted, they just made a brand new one, which is crazy.
It was, and in the first hour, we were like, how is no Spider-Man shit happened? How are they just like setting up all these plot points that they kind of just ripped off from the original?
Yeah. It is like if you ordered Spider-Man from the internet, from Wish. It's the Amazing Spider-Man is what you got, because like it's literally got all of the elements of the Spider-Mans that you've already seen, which is like it's like walking into Batman versus Superman. It's like, oh, you're gonna open with his parents dying again. Yeah. Cool. So this one, God. So okay. So they get a romantic comedy director. And they get an indie guy who's an indie British actor to play this character, it's his obsession to play this character. And they use a villain that you've never seen before. Right. Bless you. Bless your heart. And it just... I want you to walk me through the opening. I want you to walk me through the opening like half an hour, Reno. I feel like I've been...
The only thing they really add... to the they take Tobey's story, they take out the wrestling, and they add his parents being fucking running because his dad created the spider powers and the genetic cross mutation, all of the cross mutation
feels
shit.
Like a big era for that, right? Where it was like, oh, I'm connected to the thing for no reason.
It was all way too convenient. That's what pissed me off about it, because I think in the comics, like, his parents, like, were, like, spies, and that's why they had to, like, leave their baby behind and run, because they were going to get killed. So that was kind of similar, but the fact that it was so tied in with him being Spider-Man and his powers was just so convenient and just unbelievable, and you just couldn't immerse yourself in it because you didn't buy it, because it was just so, like...
Yeah, most people, like, leave money in the will. But I guess it's kind of cool they left him like radioactive spider powers.
he left him a train station with a limited amount of tokens that he has to break into and figure stuff out before he runs out of tokens, because they're special tokens.
He has to prove he's worthy.
Right. By making new tokens after a while. So yeah. So there's all of these like... So in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, you got these theater actors, you got these dramatic actors, these Shakespearean actors to do this insipid dialogue, this comic book dialogue, and that's what made them special. It was kind of like stunt casting a little bit, but at the time it was novel. This time the stunt casting was like all in the wrong direction. Like Aunt May and Uncle Ben from the first two, I didn't know who they were. And that helped me connect with them a little bit. Now I was like, Martin Sheen, Sally Field.
I kept calling Martin Sheen a toothy motherfucker.
He's very toothy.
He's a toothy
He was
Uncle
our president.
Ben, dude. It's like he was doing an impression of the first Uncle Ben, like verbatim.
For sure. Oh my, yeah, exactly. And like the most glaring example of the things that are like the things before but not quite
just
is
a little
like,
extra teeth.
Once you
That's
get
why
in
I call
there,
him the toothy Uncle Ben. It's like those things that are like you can't help but like just think of the only things that are the difference.
You think he would have been able to deflect the bullet with those teeth?
Like if he had a different Uncle Ben to give, maybe I'd be more distracted from his teeth. But
oh, is that where we draw the line? The fictional death?
I don't believe that Andrew's Peter Parker actually had to go through any considerable amount of teenage angst.
Yeah, man.
I don't think he was a social outcast at all. I feel like that's like...
I think it was all internal for him because
like,
it's just his parents.
Within 2 minutes of him walking down the hallway, a girl is like, "Oh my God, hey, how are you? What are you doing Friday?"
Right.
I don't.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's got big Kristen Stewart energy and like early Kristen Stewart energy in this movie.
Christian Stewart, Spider-Man.
I would watch that. Make her Spider-Gwen. Give that woman anything she wants. The only thing, and the only way that personality works is with Emma Stone, who is also not Gwen Stacy, but they're cute together. Mm-hmm. But it's all like, I can't do this anymore. What's going on? I can't. I don't.
It's so hard to talk about how I feel.
But no, I don't believe he's feeling bad about himself.
Yeah.
At all. He's brilliant. Everyone loves him. His parents believe in him. The only thing that sets him off is that his greedy playing Godfather left behind way too many clues about his stupid experiments and ended up screwing up the kid's life.
Yeah.
Making him too curious.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I feel like that kind of took away from his identity as Spider-Man too. It's like you already have something going on for you. Like for Peter Parker, Spider-Man was, I found who I'm supposed to be. All of this suffering makes sense now. I'm like able to do something of value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where anyone can relate to it and feel like they can insert themselves and get that empathy.
It's really
that strong empathy, you know?
Yeah. It's really hard feeling super bad for the attractive kid who can skateboard and build stuff and everyone loves and is also it was a big part of that. We had a real big Joseph Campbell circle jerk thing happening in that time period where it was like, it's your destiny, you're meant to be this. That again, to your point, that's not, it might have been his destiny, but he stumbled into it, as opposed to it was there for him all along. I agree with you. It completely
destroys. You think he just needed like a nerdy haircut? You think his hair just looked too good? That's
literally the only haircut that Andrew Garfield can have, I think.
Yeah, well.
I would have been cool with the Somewhere I Belong musical number from Hercules if they just squeezed that in there. Gave him, let me believe he needed this a little bit more.
The only trauma was artificial. That's a really good point, because all of Peter's traumas come from his hard life, his dead uncle, his all this stuff happening, and he seemed impoverished a lot. He didn't have a lot of money a lot. The first two movies made a very big case for the fact that being Spider-Man is literally the worst possible thing that could have happened to this kid. It's completely destroying his life.
Yeah.
In this one, there is no trauma. He's having a fine life until he stumbles into this mystery. There's no need for the mystery, and they spend the entire plot of two movies unraveling this mystery,
and riding on the shoulders of the original trilogy. Really, there's like, oh, you know who Peter Parker is. Like, they spend the first hour just being like, it's kind of the same thing. We're hitting all these same points that we did with those movies now.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah. So we got to, because we're having crossover, because they are one. I will give them this: they are one whole story. The two movies are one whole story with a story arc and even a natural ending that kind of sets it up where like he's gonna keep on doing the thing, and they kind of wrap up the mystery. But they have such. So the plot is Dr. Connors, one of the people that works at Oscorp. There is Oscorp. He's trying to fix his arm. He becomes the Lizard because they're trying to come up with a cure for Norman, blah, blah, blah.
That's a whole nother center of over-convenience, Oscorp. Everything, all the villains revolve around Oscorp.
Yeah.
There's nothing outside of Oscorp.
Nothing happens naturally in this. This is all it's all mapped out.
Yeah.
It's all this is also the time period in superhero movies when you had the magic menu that opened up and it would do all the references back before we could expect universes to be a thing really fully. We were like, the thing. It said the name. Yeah. It's the name of the guy. It said Morbius. And So it did a bunch of that and just set up stuff so unnaturally. So the Lizard shows up and he's trying to get revenge on the people that took everything from him, but he was also really good friends with Parker's dad, and he's kind of responsible for developing the spiders. And so he's also responsible for creating the Lizard.
Tied together, man.
So everything's tied together, which goes into the second movie where he meets Harry, and then he becomes the Green Goblin. And it's just...
I feel like,
Did they take the making everyone lizards plot from Mario?
pretty much right.
those
5,
faces
4,
look...
3, 2. They fucking did.
They
sure
look,
did. That was his entire plot. He
in
wanted
the
to
face. They look very similar in the face.
Ah,
Just throw a trench coat on them.
That's so good. That's literally the same plot, is that he wanted to give everyone the same thing he had so that he could rule over them. This plot of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is the plot of Super Mario Brothers, the movie, except not as interesting because Mario is played by Andrew Garfield, and that sucks.
yeah. And the Lizard doesn't even have a trench coat.
Bowser sucks.
That's the new Lizard. The Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man. Like, part of it just pisses me off visually because like that comic book look of him wearing like the science coat, the Lizard.
And
I don't like him so naked, bro. Like,
They
it's
tried
funny
to-
that you mentioned the trench coat. I'm like, damn, he just needed a trench coat.
That was the
bro.
thing that
That
Sam
would've
Raimi
worked.
went out of his way to do, was to give everyone the super dramatic aesthetics.
Yeah.
The huge coat, right? The big goggles, everything. And this, he's just like, hey man, can we, hey intern, head on down to Burlington Coat Factory, get ourselves an overcoat, could you? Cool. And then he puts it on and he's in the scene. And he just flips up the collar and that's his thing. And it's meant to emulate. It's meant to make us think of villains the same way we thought about Dr. Octopus. You're supposed to be thinking the same, and it doesn't work.
And Green
It
Goblin
just
too.
looks so cheap.
He was just such like a
It's like a child's
personality.
cartoon version of it.
He was a personality mesh between Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. When he was like talking to the camera, talking about all his science, it just seems like, I don't know.
You know, my favorite part is too, like
Maybe
when
that's
Stacy's dad
unfair.
is the hottest actor of 2012. Dennis Leary is in that movie for some reason.
It's funny you said that because like I didn't know anything about him and I never would have guessed because they dressed him up so dickhead cop.
Yeah. He was. What's Dennis Leary used to be is like the alpha edgy comic from the 90s. There was Bill Hicks kind of, and then there was George Carlin, but there was him. He kind of mainstreamed it. He was talking, I'm not going to quit. I smoke cigarettes, not going to stop. Comedy. And like, I eat meat. I don't want a restaurant with tables. I want meat. It's a pile of meats, men. And everyone's like, yes. Oh! And then that clearly that like attitude basically culminated in Fight Club. Like men were super angry about how easy they had it in the 90s. They had no problems. They were like, we're just going to make up problems.
And that's how we got this Spider-Man.
And that's how we got to this Spider-Man. And that's how we got to January 6th. But that's a whole nother discussion. Spider-Man. Was he at the Capitol?
Let's talk about some positives
So okay,
because I feel like it's very easy to shit on.
we're gonna end this. We'll do the worst thing.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the positives. Or do you want to do positives and then the worst thing? Positives and then the worst thing. Perfect. Give me your positives.
They had a budget.
Hey,
They had
there was
a
money
budget.
there.
There
Yeah.
was.
Stan Lee was in it.
I had a
There's
Yeah.
actually a really good. There's a fight scene in the high school that's really cool. There's like, it's silent. He's fighting in the background. He's knocking over library shelves.
Oh.
And Stan Lee is there with his headphones on and listening to music. Really clever scene. Really good 30 seconds of the movie. Continue. I shit on it again. I'm
still having
sorry.
trouble.
Listen, at the end of the day,
I had an idea. But
if Peter Parker was played by anyone else, the movie would have tanked.
Yeah.
If Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy and
right.
Peter Parker were played by anyone else, that movie wouldn't have worked. Andrew Garfield is having such a blast.
Yeah.
And
he appreciates
being Andrew Garfield in some skin tight, in some jeans, or I'm sorry, some skin tight uniform and some skinny jeans, skateboarding around pretending to be a nerd.
I love that at every opportunity he gives credit to Tobey as the best Spider-Man. Like I always hear about it.
Oh, separately, objectively, like Andrew Garfield's one of the sweetest, most genuine human beings that has ever existed on the face of the planet. I want nothing but good things for that man. He was the best part of The Social Network. He's having a moment right now. He's in like 3 movies this year where he's critically acclaimed, maybe 4. I don't know.
Tick Tick Boom was dope.
Yeah, you say that. Everyone seems to think Tick Tick Boom was great. He was in the eyes of Tammy Faye. I forget what other movie he was in, but he's having a moment. But he was like so good. It was weird for me seeing him that because he was so good in The Social Network as this kind of monologuing, angry friend who gets screwed out of his shares. And he was in this other indie drama I saw with him. And then he was like, trying to have trauma. There's not a single movie he's ever been in where he's had like circumstances that don't have to do with like, the problems I have are because I'm very privileged to be where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that he kind of takes that into Peter Parker. Again, I couldn't have. God, I'm trying to be nice to this movie.
Yeah, I had a nice thought about it, and then I completely lost it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I guess just Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, he was the best quippy. He had the best like authentic delivery of all those quippy little insults to the villains.
I mean, let's be real.
More than any other Spider-Man, hands down. I'll give him that.
But I mean,
Tom Holland and Tobey. No.
Tobey did the video games. He was pretty quippy, quick on the draw in the video games. That's for sure.
It's interesting how he was quippier in the games actually than he was in the movies. He was more. He spent most of the movies being either sad or angry.
Because he was impoverished.
Yeah. Like it was ruining his
He's
life.
A struggling photographer.
That's what we love.
And pizza delivery boy.
Yeah.
Trying to balance a relationship, his apartment.
Oh yeah.
And still working through his uncle.
Yeah. Oh, I came up with an idea. Maybe Peter Parker became a photographer because of the trauma of losing his parents, and that's the only way. The only way he can look at his parents is in a photo.
Yeah.
You had to create an artificial sense of trauma for him to justify any of his behavior, because if you don't, then it just looks he's so creepy in these movies. That's another thing. Yeah, he like stalks, he like gaslights this woman who loves him, and she's like, I could be with you either way. Be Spider-Man, don't be Spider-Man, it's fine. He's like, I love you, I need to be with you. Oh wait, I don't know.
That's kind of how Tobey was too, though, to be fair.
But it was written better.
Yeah.
Because she had more agency in the other ones, or like it seemed to have a harder impact on her.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man
sucks. I guess that's what, like, Spider-Man, this sounds like being Spider-Man's a real drag.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you kind of an asshole to all your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe don't want to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This one attempts to, like, retroactively make it seem cooler to be Spider-Man, and it does not work, actually. It makes it worse because they're trying. And his creepiness is now amped up to 11 because now they've made him a 10. Like, when it was a 6, it made sense because he had, like, there's no need for you to be stalking this woman, dude. Like, why are you doing this?
He loves her. She loves him back.
Okay,
though.
So
she loves him back.
Yeah, I remember saying that to women I've stalked. They love that. Oh,
but they already
love you though.
They both love each other already, so we can consider that as, in a way, consent.
That's not how consent works.
No.
I don't approve.
That's the wrong word.
I told you I loved you 3 years ago. You can stalk me anytime.
The lack of the opposite is what I'm saying. Like there's no like, what the fuck, why are you stalking me? It's like, why were you stalking me? And he knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's
I don't know why. I gotta
go. Don't kink shame these people is what I'm saying.
Oh my god. Oh right, so it could be a thing. They've already she's already given consent in private. They've already talked about this. Like, go ahead, stalk me. I don't care. And then like
I'm caught up in your web.
I hate it when you're following me. Oh.
Okay, positives.
We're trying to positives.
The best sense of humor of all Spider-Man trilogies.
Yeah.
Like, authentic humor delivered by, especially only really when it's coming from Andrew Garfield though, because like the writing in the movie's pretty like trash.
I thought Jamie Foxx's glasses were pretty funny. I thought that was humorous.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Like, so he defeats the lizard, everything's fine. Dennis Leary dies at the end, then he makes him promise to never see Gwen again.
That's another positive.
That Dennis Leary dies. I agree.
Yeah, and like, they're still kind of copying the original Spider-Man movie. It ends with a funeral, and I can't be with you. Literally.
Oh God, it does the same thing.
Yeah. But different reason because he feels guilted. But then he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to keep this promise." He says at the very end. But it's watching it, knowing that she dies later has way more emotional impact.
Do you know who I was watching at the funerals?
Huh?
His wife and kids and Gwen's dad or Gwen's mom and brothers as they keep dwindling in numbers at the funeral. They're the ones I'm paying attention to now because Spider-Man's existence is ruining their lives.
Yeah.
And he keeps showing up to the funeral like, I'm sad. I'm sorry. Hey, maybe
what it lacked
Stop.
in that like everyday Spider-Man ruining Peter Parker's life, it made up for in like arc of tragedy because he loses Gwen, like
super
you know what I mean?
hard, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like in the tragedy of the original Spider-Man 1 and 2, it's like I can't be with you, and then she runs to him at the end in the wedding dress. Yeah, I love you. Go get him, Tiger. And this one just ends with her fucking head hitting the ground. You know?
It just makes you wonder if he wasn't stalking her so much, would she still be here today?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He stalks her so much. She comes back into his life. And she's a fully fledged human being, which I do appreciate about the second one.
Yeah.
And she helps, which is why she's in trouble, because she's the only one who knows how to solve the problem. I love that she's actually engaged in the problem, and she's a real human person. And to be fair, he did try to keep her away. He did warn her over and over again.
Yeah, then Dennis Leary kept showing up and just staring at him. His ghost, just like.
So the second one, they are really hammering home this, my father is super connected to why I'm Spider-Man, super connected to Oscorp. There's this mystical, magical thing that I'm working on that I can't talk about, but it's what caused...
Everything is one... All the threads lead to one thread.
Right.
There's only one thread to this fucking movie. It's not complex at all.
Good thing about the last movie, I think the first one was better than the second one.
See?
Yeah. We can leave it. We don't have to shame that.
That's what he thought going into it, but then he switched his mind.
I switched.
Yeah.
I
think I did too.
Hated the second one the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
The first one sucks worse.
Because it spends so much. The problem is like I literally paused it 3 times. There is so long before anything of any importance happens in the first one.
They just copied the first trilogy in the first hour.
At least the second one starts off with some Spider-Man shit. Like it starts off with the dumb plot with the airplane falling, but like then he's swinging through the air, then he's fighting the Rhino, then he's doing Spider-Man stuff. Yeah. At least Spider-Man stuff is happening, so I'm slightly interested. Slightly.
But the Rhino.
I actually didn't mind it going in the second time because I already knew what it was.
Yeah.
Because already having hated it as much as I possibly could, I was like, all right.
I think it's an all right, like modern take. Like he was a little like the actor. I don't. They were kind of overacting it, but like I like that when it gets on the ground and it starts. I'm like, how is this fucking thing? It's like standing on 2 feet. I'm like, that's not a fucking rhino. How is it gonna like do the classic? Yeah. But then it gets down on all fucking. I'm like, okay, a rhino on all fours. That's kind of a cool take on the rhino.
Yeah.
I just the fact that it comes down and.
And that's cool, but that's like again more of that artificial stuff because then like. So then Harry shows up, and he needs a magical cure, and then Peter won't give him the cure.
We can't have
blood.
A comic accurate fucking rhino. We say we want it, but as soon as that thing comes on screen, we're gonna be like, bro. Unless he's like almost like Bane, where he's getting pumped with like muscles.
Well,
and
no,
shit.
no, I don't want that rhino, but I don't like everything comes from the basement of Oscorp. Oscorp is like a weird hall of terrors because they tell so Electro. Do you remember his name in the?
Jamie Foxx.
Right. So Jamie Foxx.
Max.
He's Max. So Max is that weird, that nerd kind of stereotype.
Made him the most fucking like. How can we make him the lamest nerd? And it's just like so corny. Like, give him some stupid hair and he licks it, and he's really socially awkward and he's got weird glasses, and he's gonna be like. Hearing a bunch of important papers. I got blueprints. Oh no! Stop bumping me! Stop bullying me! It was
We're
sad.
gonna take all of the
Like
Peter
in a
Parker
bad
out
way.
of Andrew and put it into Max.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was whack.
And then they made Peter Parker
That's the
be his
only way
only
I can
friend.
put it.
And you know, the thing that sticks out for me about this movie is like it feels so.
Was that thing aimed at me?
Same to both of you. It's a wide angle. It feels so useless. It feels so superfluous. It feels like the only reason that it was made, and this happens all the time, is that it was made to like hold on to the rights to kill time while they figured out what to do, because Sony's so desperate to like do their own thing. We're gonna like make our own Sinister Six movie. We're gonna make our own
Warner
villains.
Brothers.
Yeah.
I think I just appreciated Andrew Garfield. That's all I really
Great, yeah.
appreciated. I love the scene where Gwen's just fucking walking down the street. You think it's about us, it's all about her, right? She's gonna go have her own scene. All of a sudden, like, clumsy as fuck, comes Andrew swinging on his thing, whoop, hits the fuck wall, and he just like instantly starts walking. Gwen! I fucking thought that was hilarious.
Wasn't
like,
it in the second one?
Oh, maybe that.
That
Yeah, that
wasn't
was
the second one,
That wasn't
yeah.
the second
Well,
one.
that's probably.
So that's a good way. That's a good way to
It was
intro.
it was a great Spider-Man moment.
Yeah.
You know, like just so normal to them. Just he's like stumbling. Gwen, go back. It was great. I don't really remember what he had to say to her, but I just remember like it was just framed just about her. She was walking down the street and then unexpected.
Yeah, he
as
slams
fuck,
into the wall. He like any normal person would have died from the impact.
and immediately starts
Yeah.
walking and like stumbling towards her, like saying something important.
Is the
That's-
first movie really that forgettable?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we've
Yeah.
always talked
Yep.
about.
It really is, because they do, like, what do they all do the same? Like, Uncle Ben's the same. He dies similarly. He has the same moment of letting the bad guy go. The same, like, oh, this guy screwed us over, so yeah, I'm going to be full of revenge. Like, yo, not my problem. As the bad guy runs away, and then that guy goes and kills his uncle. Same thing.
Two things. One, I think that if I look at the Amazing Spider-Man like as an Elseworlds thing, like an alternate universe kind of
Yeah.
thing, where all the things happen,
Which is what they
they're,
want
like
you
weird.
to think of it now.
Now, yeah, they're retroactively doing that.
Fuckers get away with it.
On the other hand, okay, so there is a 10-year gap between the two. So I think that what is interesting is that so we grew up. Like my Spider-Man was the first ones. Those are the ones that had the impact on me. There's somebody who's growing up where the Amazing Spider-Man is the way that they get those moments, and then they go back and see them in other variations, and it's weird for them. I think it's unfortunate that their Spider-Man is so boring. Is the word. I think it's so uninteresting, but it is a good intro to like Andrew Garfield, I guess. Go look up more of his stuff. But I mean, so we get more of him in the second one. We get more of all the stuff that wasn't great about the first one, and a little bit more of the stuff that was good about the first one, which is Spider-Man stuff, which is what it opens with. It opens with some Spider-Man stuff, but at first it opens with doubling down on their stupid plot. Starts with a plane crash, with the father uploading information that probably has to do with spider stuff.
I
It's
think it
so
was.
dumb.
I think what it was, what he was uploading, was the video he watches. He was sending. I think he was uploading the video of him sending the message to his son
that
to
he
find.
finds in the secret
I
subway.
think that's what it
arcade.
was. And it took me all these years to finally fucking understand that, or to care enough to like understand that
I've been
part.
trying to say this though. His spider powers are a family heirloom.
That makes it sound cool.
I'm trying. I'm really
No,
trying.
I hate that so much. Like, it takes away his agency. Like it's that chosen one bullshit. I hate it so much. Because you were saying before, like it takes away like all the reasons why he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's an accident. It's an accident when he stumbles into his fate, into what he's supposed to do. Whereas this one, it's now like he had no choice. It didn't matter what he did. It didn't matter where he went. He was going to end up in some spider stuff.
You know, you made the comment like, you know, we don't need to make a shitty Spider-Man 3. We can go make our own shitty movies without you. It feels like you're kind of saying the same things that happened with Spider-Man 3, what they do with Uncle Ben. They took away the accident of Uncle Ben and made it this.
That's literally, yeah. They ruined it. They ruined it, and then they tried to make us care again. That's actually, So they in Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, they retroactively make it so the man who plays the Sandman is the one who actually killed Uncle. And he's so sorry, and so we've already had the rug pulled out from under us in the emotional attachment we had to that moment. And then literally 4 years later, we get another movie where they just do the thing all over again.
Let's dig him up.
Dig him up, yeah. Let's take him to Pet Cemetery. He comes out looking like Martin Sheen, bad teeth. That's actually worse. Yeah, they literally dug up and laid him like a fleshy marionette to dance in front of us again to like make us care about a thing that's poorly sketched out in that movie when it's done the second time too, because it feels like a copy because we've seen the originals. Mm-hmm. So this one starts off with some villain stuff, some Sinister Six stuff.
Well, kind of ends with the Sinister Six stuff.
Well, it begins with like a super villain kind of in the making with the Rhino, and he's a super cartoon.
Yeah.
He's a Decepticon.
Yeah. I'm literally trying to remember what happens in this movie. So he's just feeling sad about being Spider-Man. He's trying to live up to the promise that he's never going to talk to Gwen again. But the point of the end, like the end of Spider-Man 1, he's like, promises are meant to be broken. All right, well, you lied to a dying father. That's cool. And so now he keeps messing with this girl's head, and that's like 90% of the plot. Then Harry shows up. And then they're friends for 2 minutes, and we're supposed to care about that.
He's supposed to be his long-lost best friend.
Oh, yeah. And then he's mad because Spider-Man won't give him his blood.
He's supposed to do the James Franco thing.
Yeah. And then it's the end of the movie, and it's 2.5 hours later. And then Gwen has followed... Oh, yeah. So the Electro happens.
I believed his villainous intent, but his build is just not what I want to see in a villain. Like, unless you're making like a crazy big muscle suit for yourself, like your scrawny little...
Well, I mean, it would have been cool if there was more than 30 seconds of character development as to how he got there.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate him aesthetically. Aesthetically, he was lame.
He walked on set, and then he walked off set, and that was his time on the film.
And then so in the middle of all that's Electro, who spends most of his time being locked up in the Deus Ex narrative.
I love
factory.
how they had that for No Way Home. They just have to fix him. You know what I mean? And they understand that like. We're not making you blue anymore, bro. Did you know how
I do appreciate how Kevin Feige has taken the opportunity to do all the things right. Like since now he has the keys to literally all these properties, he's like, I want you to fuck it up, I want you to fuck it up, I want you to fuck it up. Now I'm going to do them correctly, the way everyone wanted you to in the first place. Because there's in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's clearly a choice made where it's like, hey, you know how Electro looks? We'll make him look completely different.
We're gonna do this with all of them. We're gonna find a way to ruin all of their designs. We're gonna make Reptile naked. Mm-hmm. We're gonna make the Goblin look like
gooey.
Yeah.
I'm
just like a big drooling. I know he's not like
all of his skin is a wound,
mouth, but
all of his skin is a pussy wound.
That's how he looks. Yeah.
He looks like if the lead singer of My Chemical Romance became a supervillain. Like that's He's like this very distinctly 2011 boy look villain, and there's nothing threatening about him at all.
No, I would spray him with a can of Raid.
Yeah.
The fight would be over.
And then Electro, his whole thing is feeling sad, but then trying to hurt people with metal and electricity and dubstep, right? Like his whole power was like dubstep because dubstep was cool in 2012. So they're like, what would Electro be like? He would like dubstep. And so like the final fight is like a dubstep remix, like the Zed's Dead remix of the Itsy Bitsy Spider. That's it. That's the tweet. That's what the ending of the movie is. And the movie's over. And then Green Goblin shows up, and then we got to shove in the Gwen thing. So, okay, before we get to the Gwen thing, the thing that ruins this movie for me, I went into this movie, I hated it when I first saw it. I went into this, I was like, all I've ever wanted was Spider-Man stuff from this movie, and it gave it to me. So I was like, I'm invested in you. And then
Stockholm.
They keep doing this thing where they keep trying to get me to care about the mystery behind his Spider-Man stuff. I don't care anymore. I don't care about your father. I want more Electro stuff. I want more Harry stuff. I want more Oscorp stuff, but it's about his dad.
Yeah.
And then so he finally decides he's going to solve the mystery. We're going to solve the mystery that's at the heart of these movies. We're going to get into it, and he's going to have a montage where he's going to use his brains to figure it all out. And what music does he decide to put on? I don't know what it is, but it's one of the worst, poppiest, like most saccharine songs I've ever heard in my life.
Not only is it just like the montage music, it's
the
just
moment.
Yeah, because he's like crying in his bed with his hoodie up, getting all teenage angsty emotional, and he puts in his earbuds, and that's just what ruined it for me.
It is the song "Gone, Gone, Gone" by Phillips. So this young man has just been broken up with by his girlfriend. He goes home and puts
Peter
earbuds
Parker
in.
does not listen to that.
Yeah. And he comes home and he's got this mystery wall. He's gonna solve the whole thing. And this
Baby, gone. Yeah, we're gonna get. I don't know how much you can play with that.
3 seconds. 3 whole seconds.
I feel his pain.
And literally, it takes you so far out of the movie. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And there's still an hour left after that. I didn't buy anything because after that, Peter Parker chose this music. Peter Parker chose this song. Fuck Peter Parker. Get out of here, Peter Parker. You deserve everything that happens to you, man. You make bad decisions. You ruin everything you touch. You got bad taste and stuff. Get the fuck out of my life. And that's how I felt about the rest of the movie. Everything's his fault.
Yes.
And all of my empathy for him drained out in that moment. You got bad taste and stuff, dude. I can't. It's hard for me to like care in that moment. Listen to Drowning Pool or something. I don't listen to Korn. I don't care. Something else. It would have been fine if it was just like the score.
I would have taken more dubstep.
Yeah.
MG's just crying and like psychotically or like manically, like putting up together this information while this dubstep plays. He's like on Adderall.
His nose is bleeding. Yeah.
Taking Adderall.
See I want that scene. That's a beautiful scene. Yeah.
See, if Andrew Garfield had control over writing it, it would have been a
well, see, that's
movie.
the thing is like, okay, so this movie tried to cram too much into it and tried to set up too much stuff that we didn't care about.
Copy too much from the original.
And the people that were mad about that were both the director and Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield was pissed. There's apparently like 40 minutes of deleted scenes that expand on the relationship between him and Harry, that expand on the relationship between him and Emma, and they were all cut out, and a bunch of the other extra stuff was forced to be put in. And so one of the reasons why The Amazing Spider-Man 3 didn't happen was at the press junket that they were going to announce it at, Andrew Garfield just didn't show up.
Oh. Wait, was that when he was sick?
That's when he was sick. Yeah. He just decided to stay in his hotel. Yeah.
Really?
He just didn't want to be it anymore because he went and watched the movie and he was pissed.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that as a reference. I'm gonna call this Easter egg out. All right. When Tom Holland turns down being a part of the Avengers and doesn't go to the press conference, it's just like that moment, like, no, it was a test. It was a test. You passed it. It's like, what are we gonna do? We have this press conference.
This is not why I got into this. I want to be your friendly neighborhood indie actor.
I'm gonna pretend that they did that in honor of Andrew.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm not gonna let you guys continue to ruin Spider-Man. Like, I'm not showing up. Yeah.
That feels like the level of pettiness I feel like Kevin Feige's at. Yeah. It feels like a real thing where he heard about that and he was like, he probably sent like a basket to Andrew and he's like, I got you.
Is it petty or is it retribution?
It's both.
I mean, like,
it can be both.
Should wallow in their own sorrows for what they've done.
How much power do you have to have where it stops being petty?
I'm not going to be able to answer that.
Yeah, because I'm still petty. I'm still at a level where I'm petty as fuck. So when I reach a level of power where I don't feel petty so much as I just know that I can exact the revenge I've always deserved to enact on my enemies, I guess I'll know then.
So he didn't show up.
Yeah. And they were like, well, I guess this person doesn't want to do this. And then that was around the time that the leak happened. The email leak happened, and all of their plans were laid bare. And then Kevin Feige showed up in Amy Pascal's office and was like, hey, listen, you guys are really fucking this up. So why don't you just... Because he was trying to help them make this movie better, and they didn't listen to him.
Who was?
Kevin Feige. He sent them, like, extensive notes about how to make the movie better. And they were like, no, that's okay. Avi Arad was like, I hate reading. I have a vision and I'm going to see it through to the end. And he did, and it's bad. And then they gave it, and then Kevin Feige showed up and he's like, listen, we're going to do our own Spider-Man. That'd be great. And you should probably just join in. She kicked him out of the office and didn't talk to him for like a week. And then clearly they had to do it because there was no way for them to go. You're gonna keep Spider-Man out of the Marvel universe? They're dominating you, dude.
Yeah, we're just keep doing DC without Batman. You guys can keep all the Batman stuff. No, shit, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right.
For some reason, they thought that would be different for Spider-Man and Marvel. Like,
it's amazing how far Marvel has come because they were bankrupt in the '90s. Like, Blade was all they had left. Yeah. To see how far they've come, and that's what Sony's beef is that they're responsible for the Superman or for the superhero genre as it stands, with the Spider-Man movies. They did this shit. So now they're mad because they didn't have their hands in the pot anymore and they don't know what to do. Because they don't know how to handle a universe. They only know how to make one movie at a time.
Maybe
and
a
then
couple
like they're
at
bad
best.
at universe stuff because they were trying to do universe stuff and it sucked real bad. So yeah, so everyone's mad at this movie, including the people who made it. The guy who made it doesn't really appreciate it. The guy who was in it doesn't really appreciate it. But now we're getting to retroactively go back and like pretend it was all on purpose. I get to say, oh, it's like an Elseworlds thing because of what they're doing right now.
Right.
Otherwise, it was
Multiverse.
just a movie I forgot about and could have died for all I cared. Like I literally was never going to watch those movies again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here talking about them like this. I wouldn't be here talking about them like this unless they were going out of their way to retroactively make me appreciate them for some reason. So now you're opening up the multiverse. Oh, so now the stupid speech that's not it with great power comes responsibility. Instead, it's like, well, you know, with a great amount of things that are handed to you, you must be super careful with them so as not to break them and be irresponsible with them.
That's literally like Uncle Ben's speech.
But now, if in a
Amazing
multiverse,
Spider-Man.
it sounds like, well, that's like a variation on that. That's like, oh, well, yeah, it's the same thing. It'd be the same thing okay, first off, I hate you, but also genius. Great.
Yeah. Well, now since we had those bad movies, we could just kind of fling the good pieces of them into these new films. So I'm still trying to think of compliments.
I will say the second one has some really good set pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, I make fun of it, but the dubstep Itsy Bitsy Spider scene is really cool.
Yeah.
And the Times Square scene is really cool. And all the scenes with CGI and stuff are really cool. It's just in service to nothing.
The writing's just bad.
Yeah. And they crammed in too much.
Oh, another thing, like aesthetically, that's just so god awful about the Amazing Spider-Man. Besides all the villains, God, the villains, bro.
The villains.
But
Those
the
villains,
way
what they did to
the way
them.
that Andrew Garfield looks in this suit looks like a kid in a costume. Doesn't look like a fucking superhero in a fucking Spider-Man in his costume. He looks skinny and like they didn't.
It does look like he made the costume. The thing about the Tobey Spider-Man is like those things cost like $1.5 million a piece to make.
was worth
and they
it.
looked like it though.
It worked. It was worth
Andrew
it.
Garfield's looks like it cost $7.50 to make, and it
Exactly.
looks like it.
Yeah.
So I
much.
kind of appreciate that.
There's a balance.
Because they didn't get it with Tom Holland, because Tom Holland went from wearing a hoodie and a mask to Iron Man tech
Yeah.
overnight.
Right.
So he never got a chance to like really work his way into it.
I'm kind of over that suit making Spider-Man scene thing.
You mean just in general?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm just glad they
DIY?
just. I wasn't
Oh.
mad at the convenience.
You don't
of
DIY, bro?
Iron Man.
You don't DIY?
Yeah. I mean, who could do it better than Tobey, right? all those. They got us. Don't fucking use draw that shit.
Yeah, he was doing
Yeah.
he was like 3D printing stuff before 3D printers were even commercially viable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is, I love his suit too, because it's clear that he has spent all of his money, literally all of his money, on that suit, on the maintenance of that suit. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's talk about these other Spider-Mans, so we don't have to talk about this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
God, please.
It's just bad and boring and arbitrary. It has nothing going on in it that's interesting. It tries so hard to shoehorn in plot threads that we're supposed to care about for the future. I will say this, because they set all that up, I wish there was a third one that kind of dealt with the consequences of everything in this movie.
'Cause it
But
would've been
also it is a closed loop.
bonkers.
It does tell a complete story over 2 movies, and with the retroactive narrative juggling they're doing, it makes sense. I'm trying so hard.
Well,
I'm using so many
it's
words
cool.
to try to like
Here,
give it something.
It's
not
cool
working.
Mind-boggling.
that
Yeah.
it got cut. The only thing that like didn't really close off was they set up the Sinister Six, and now we're getting to see the fucking Sinister
God, that's
Six.
so dumb.
But now they get to see
Yeah.
this. Like instead of we didn't have to see the god awful one.
Right.
We're gonna see the cool one. They're gonna make it dope.
Right, and
They
so
look better.
as something that got us primed for this stuff.
I really think they're doing Sinister Six because they got 5 announced, and I don't know if you saw the end of Venom 2, but
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I think he's coming.
Yeah. Like I'm.
So yeah, I think there's doing Sinister
Knowing
Six
that-
versus
right,
the
knowing
three
that
Spider-Man, which is
Venom-
what I wanted all along.
But like Venom, like it would be awesome if Venom helps out. Like,
Well,
that would be cool.
Well, yeah, I mean Venom. See, I want to.
I love a buddy cop Venom and Spider-Man. Like I love a good buddy.
Yeah,
cop.
but we gotta. But that's not the. We gotta get there, right?
Yeah.
I think we gotta see him as the bloodthirsty fucking monster Venom first, right?
I love like the Venom through his universal consciousness
And then
recognize
that,
Peter
yes.
Parker from a complete. Like I think that's the Topher Grace Venom. I think like they're all connected. I think because the universal head thing. Because he's like, we have all the knowledge in the universe, right? So when he recognizes him, that's crazy. He's like that guy. Tom Hardy or Eddie doesn't know that guy, but Venom knows that guy.
Yeah.
I would love it if that was the reason, because it doesn't. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
that he's
that
like
he
that guy.
recognizes him, he's
Well,
flicking the screen.
I think the problem with like everyone had with Venom, it's like, how are they gonna make him a villain? He's like, you know, an anti-hero, but he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
It's like they have this real friendship. And like he's killing bad guys. Okay, like how are they gonna make him this evil guy? But I think that was just them going like,
What if Eddie Brock
make him-
cleared his name?
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We'll
Venom-
find a reason for him to be that
was
monster.
always
What if
like
Eddie
a
Brock
kid,
is a journalist
though,
who clears his name? Sorry, I had
you're
to get
good.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Like he is the journalist who ends up interviewing Peter Parker and ends up clearing his name and like giving him like he gets the exclusive.
Oh.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh,
Like,
right
'cause
now
Eddie Brock
it's
is a
like,
journalist.
You killed Mysterio.
Yeah. Like what if Eddie Brock is like the journalist who breaks it because no paper will cover him. So now he has to do a podcast or do his like, because Eddie Brock's is like an online magazine. He's like Vice Online, essentially.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Because there has to be a way that they know each other where they're not just beating the shit out of each other. Because we've talked about this where
I don't know,
I
though.
think that Venom
I
would beat the
disagree.
living piss out of Peter Parker, out of
Yes,
Tom
I agree
Holland's
with
Peter
that.
Parker.
Yeah.
But I disagree that like, I think they're just gonna like he licks the screen, man. They're just gonna make him what we need him to be. Like he could be manipulated by Doc Ock, you know, like very intelligent.
Well, I'd love for him to
Doc
get revenge
Ock
on
is
how
such
he
a
took
wild
care of
card,
Topher
too.
Grace's character.
What?
He wants revenge because he was here, he took over this one character, and then he got shit canned by Tobey.
Yeah.
So now he's been floating around looking for another consciousness.
Yeah,
He
but now
found
this
one.
and this alliance, you know,
Yeah.
and he's probably putting together the team of 6, and like
I will
somehow-
not believe it if they kind of retcon Topher Grace's Venom dying. Oh, give that to me. Feed that to me. Give me that. That's the juice I want in my veins.
make it Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
instead.
How that Venom is the same Venom. Like he was defeated and he disappeared. He went back to his planet and then he ended up coming back on the ship.
Oh, the same symbiote.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. Like he sees him and recognizes like Spider-Man.
Oh, that's why
and-
he recognizes him because
Yeah.
that symbiote was the same one that was.
Yeah. Like it's part of the same consciousness.
They
Whoa.
do make
Or they were in the same universe all along, Toby
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Which
Well,
the
the
Venom
same- the
symbiote is
multiverse,
like
yeah.
so
No, the
mysterious
same.
and
Oh, yeah.
vast it could just dimension jump. But they do make it
Yeah.
seem like a pivotal part of the story for this film that like he's facing charges for killing Mysterio. So I'm fully on board with Eddie Brock clearing his name. I honestly want that. Like that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Because then Venom's like right in the story and it's just like that. I'm doing my job here, yeah, but this guy, I need to like get at him or
Yes.
something, and it's just
Okay,
like,
I'm on
yes.
board now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, not that I wasn't on board. That could be the device. That could be the plot device to make him the maniacal villain.
yeah.
Make it personal for Eddie Brock. Something happens
And
between
make Doc
like.
Ock,
Yeah.
like
But like the symbiote already hates him, but Eddie Brock's like, nah, he's cool. But then find a way to make it personal for Eddie.
You know what's
Brock.
weird now is that like it used to be you'd have these conversations and you'd go watch the movie and it would suck, right? And you'd be like, it'd be cool if they did this, and they didn't do any of it. Now
reviews are
they're
crazy,
starting
you
to
say.
do like get closer to us going, you know, it'd be cool if they did this, and this, and then they do it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, they did it.
Yeah, they're like, let's just give them what they're asking for. Let's just pay what you're asking for.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking forward to. We're getting what we want finally.
Hopefully, stakes.
Because we had to not. We got what we wanted, then we got what we didn't want, and now we're finally where we want. And I think that pretty much concludes our conversation about the Amazing Spider-Mans. Looking forward to these new ones. We'll be talking about the No Way Home on our next cast soon. That's it for me. I'm Jason Hillman. You can find me on Twitter at Woke Menace. You can find me on Instagram at Jason the Hillman. Through those, you can find my other stuff. Reno, where can they find you?
Hey, check out Reality TV Rocks on Instagram. That's my group with Get Moses.
All right, and I want to thank you, Jay Lopez, our special guest. Where can they find you?
Stuff. Underground Battle League. If you want to go watch me rip some heads off in my venomous fashion, and then Global Serpents. One word. Right. Yeah, that's all.
Sorry, say that one again. I kind of over.
Global Serpents. One word, and then Underground Battle League, or just Google J Lopez versus. Don't click on the J-Lo videos.
That's been fun, everybody. Thanks so much.
We're done. Goodbye. See you, everyone. Bye.